Oh, hello, and welcome to tonight's broadcast. We're doing another best, worst, and underrated show. We've done a few in the past, right? We did the Ramones, we did Misfits 77 to 83, and we did Misfits 95. Whoa, 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 whoa. Jeff, calm down. Calm down. Only I get to talk, not you. Jesus Christ, is that guy never shuts the fuck up. So we've done a few different varieties of this, and there's a couple more bands that I feel like I could really lay into. I think I could do TSOL. I think I could do Iggy or the Stooges. I could do the Stooges. I was considering doing the Damned, would be another one potentially. Sublime, could do Sublime. A couple of bands. Like the problem with this is I have to know the discography well enough to be able to pick out a best, a worst, and an underrated. But here's the thing. Here's the key thing here. When we say worst, that's what we got. This game came from Reddit. I can't, under good conscience, say that these songs are the worst songs, especially when it comes to this band, the Pixies, which is who we're tackling tonight. Obviously, we already know that because you've seen the title of the show. There is not, I really mean this, like, I love every single song from the original Pixies canon. There's not a bad song. There's not a bad song. But playing the game requires a best, a worst. So I put worst in quotes. A best, a worst, and an underrated. Okay. And even just to pick one of each, incredibly difficult for these bands in general. Super difficult for the Pixies. Like, I don't know how I was even able to do it. Like, I'm shocked because, like I said, so here's the thing. When I listen to the Pixies, I don't just like put on a song. I'm not just putting on like one song. I listen to the entire canon in sequential order from start to finish. So that means that when I'm in the mood to listen to Pixies, I start with Caribou on Come On Pilgrim, and I don't finish until I've listened to the Navajo No on Trompe la Monde. And that might take a couple of days. It might take a single afternoon. It might take 2 days. It might whatever. But it's just like when I watch movies, like when I watch Kill Bill Volume 1, I have to watch Volume 2. If I watch Star Wars: A New Hope, you best believe I'm going to watch Empire and Return of the Jedi. The Pixies are such an important band to me that, to me, everything is a sequential canon, and the albums almost are like concepts in and of themselves. And I love this band with every fiber of my being. They're one of my bands. I've seen them live, I don't know, 7 or 8 times now. First time I saw them was 2005 in Philadelphia, and it melted my mind. I got into them just as they had reunited. They had just played Coachella, right? So that's when I hopped on the train, and someone recommended Doolittle to me. So Doolittle is my first real Pixies record. However, it was not my introduction to the Pixies. My introduction to the Pixies was like many people's introduction to the Pixies, which was via the Fight Club soundtrack. I'd heard the name Black Francis and the song "Where Is My Mind." We all know this song. It's more than a song; it's an anthem, and it was made like legendary by Fight Club. That was back when a '90s soundtrack, putting a needle drop on a '90s soundtrack could make a song immortal. And I think that's kind of what happened to Where Is My Mind, in the best way possible. And I still love that track. And what's amazing? Like, there are some tracks that get overplayed and oversaturated, and then you play it out. And we'll definitely be talking about one or two of those in this episode. But a testament to the brilliance of Where Is My Mind, that is a song that is maybe even overly played, but the levels, the layers of what it is as a song have sort of changed for me over the years. Like I never get tired of listening to it. It's an incredible track. We all know it's an incredible track. We all get to the end of Fight Club. If you know, if you enjoy that movie, I haven't seen Fight Club in a very long time. I have the book, and I read the book a long time. I need to reread that book and then watch the movie, because I have the comic book sequel. I'm like, well, if I'm gonna, I better just go back and revisit all of this, because that's what you revisit stuff. All of that to say that the Pixies they're just one of those bands for me, man. Like, again, there are a few bands like that where it's just like every song means something. The lyrics themselves, much like with the Misfits, Glenn Danzig's Misfits lyrics, some of them, not all of them. I mean, the Pixies canon, it's poetry. It's not just music. They're poems. They're these surrealist poems. And that's the thing about the Pixies. They are surf rock by way of punk rock, indie surrealists. They're surrealists. That when I look at the lyrics to Pixies songs, I think of a surrealist, right? Like I'm just, surrealist poetry. It's just absolutely wonderful. When, pressed for what do your lyrics mean, Black Francis, and Black Francis always says, that doesn't mean anything. It just means whatever. It just means whatever I want it to mean. Like it just sounds pretty. So I rhymed it. By the way, Alex is saying here, stop biting your fingernails. Here's the truth, people. I've been biting my fingernails since I was maybe 4 or 5 years old. I can't stop. I've tried to stop biting my fingernails. It is my number one, like, New Year's resolution, pet peeve. I wish I could stop. I hate when people see my fingernails. Sometimes when I'm in public, I'll ball up my hands and fists. I don't want people to see my ugly, disgusting, bitten up fingernails. Believe me, I'm very self-conscious about it. And again, it comes from anxiety and ADHD. It's untreated ADHD and a variety of things. And yeah, it's definitely one of these days, one day. If I could quit smoking cigarettes, if this is a straw, if I could quit drinking and taking drugs, if I could go on a low sugar diet, eventually I will get to a place where I don't bite my nails. It's just an unconscious anxiety driven habit. All right. Enough about that. That was a segue. He called me out. I had to address it. I had to say something. But I don't listen, Alex. I agree. I should stop biting my fingernails. You're absolutely right. You are not wrong, sir. You're not wrong. So this is the way. Oh my God, this is going to fall over. So we know how the game is played, right? I'm going to go album by album, but here's the thing. The Pixies, there's 2 versions of the Pixies, really. And now I would even say that there's 3. Every time they get a new bass player, the band kind of changes a little bit. The original band, Kim Deal, and there's a lot of purists out there who say no Kim, no deal, which I think is really idiotic, personally. There's a lot of people out there who just think of the Kim Deal original canon, and that's it. There's nothing else, and there's nothing else to say about it and whatnot, blah, 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 blah. And then you have the second, they call it, but it's known as Pixies 2.0, and that has Paz, whatever you want to call it, who just left the band or was fired from the band, however you want to look at it. And now they have Emma Richardson, I think is her last name, right? And they're about to put out a new album with her. So I would say that's Pixies 3.0. So you could really divide the Pixies by these eras. And we are going to only be looking at the Kim Deal records. When they release the new record, there's a new record that's imminently coming. When they release the new record, we will do Pixies 2.0. We'll do Indie Cindy, Head Carrier, Beneath the Eerie, and Doggerel, and whatever the new album is. So for now, we're just sticking to the original canon. Now, because I love the Pixies so goddamn much, when we did the Ramones one, and we didn't do compilations. I'm going to include compilations this time. So that includes both the B-sides and the purple tape. So we have a total of 7 releases to go through. And let's get started. So we're going to get started with the purple tape. What is the purple tape? If you're not familiar with who the Pixies are or what the Pixies are about. Before they ever released Come On Pilgrim, they met up with this guy, Gary Smith, this producer, and they recorded a 17-song demo tape that was known as the Purple Tape, with the intention of releasing. They wanted to release this as an album in some way, shape, or form. And of course, that tape, Gary Smith gave it to what's his name, Ivo Watts, the label man for 4AD. And their manager, Ken Goes, he was also the manager of the Throwing Muses, who were kind of like the Pixies, like sister band or brother band, or whatever you want to call them. And Ken had gotten the Throwing Muses signed to 4AD a little bit before. And 4AD is kind of known for, like, I don't know, like sort of gothic, post-punk, like, I don't know how to describe their label sound. But he gave him the tape, and he was a little hesitant because he had just signed an American band from the same manager. But he was like, I don't know. And then his girlfriend, who worked as a secretary for 4AD, she was like, you got to sign this band. So he had Ivo Watts, he had the tape. He had the Purple Tape, and he put it in his Walkman. He had a Walkman, and he listened to it, and he just could not. He was like, oh, my God, this is amazing. And he wanted to put out the record. He wanted to put out a record. And he said, let's take some songs from the Purple Tape, but we're not going to use all of the songs. We're going to use the strongest material, and we're going to release a EP. I guess it's some people, it's technically an EP, but it's 8 songs, 7 or 8 songs, Come On Pilgrim. And it's kind of like a mini album, if that makes sense. Like it's more than an EP, but it doesn't have enough songs to be an LP at the same time. It's a blistering 20 minutes of perfection. And it's one of my favorite releases. But I mean, all of the releases are my favorite. It's so, the thing that I love, the thing that's so brilliant about Come On Pilgrim is that it's just, I love records. I love collections of songs that are very short, especially when there's a lot of songs and it's a short runtime. Then I can listen to it over and over again. Again, the thing about the Pixies, and for me personally, what makes this all work for me so well is that I can listen to those albums over and over and over again. I used to have them on tape. I would burn a CD, then drop that, because I had a tape deck in a 94 Camry. And what I would do, this is crazy to think that I would do this. I didn't always have the tape converter. Remember when you had to have the tape converter and you plug it into your CD player so you can listen to music in your car? Ridiculous. And then eventually you could connect your MP3 player to it as well. So plugging in an MP3 player or an iPod, whichever, into a cassette adapter, into a tape deck, into a 94 Camry. And so I was like, yeah, this is too complicated for me. That was back when I was smoking with this hand, futzing with the radio or the stereo with this hand, and I was driving with my knee like an idiot. But that's what you do when you're 17, 18 years old and you think you're invincible, and it's the dumbest thing in the world. And so I was like, I need to do something more safe than this. And so I used to just love chain smoking cigarettes in my car and listening to the Pixies. I just drive around and I would do that a lot. And those were good times, man. And so I put those albums, they each fit on the side of a cassette. You can get 2 albums on each side of the cassette. So on one, so I had Surfer Rosa and Doolittle, I think. No, that's not possible. No. It was 1 album per side. I had Doolittle and Surfer Rosa on one cassette. I had Bossa Nova and Trompe le Monde on another. Maybe I had Come On Pilgrim and Surfer Rosa together. I don't remember. No. It was Doolittle and Surfer Rosa, and then I had Bossa Nova and Trompe le Monde. And I would rotate those 4 albums, and then I got into Come On Pilgrim. Come On Pilgrim was actually the final piece of the puzzle, really. And I just fucking played as soon as the tape was done, I'd flip it over, listen again and again and again. And it was so nice to that was back when you had an album stuck in your tape player and you just listened to it over and over and over again. And I had 6 cassettes, and I was stoked. I was set. It's amazing how we have Spotify at our fingertips in a CD, in a CD player, in a phone. That's what I meant to say. All right. I guess that's enough of an intro. So like I said, what we're going to do, we're going to go through best, worst, blah, blah, blah. Oh yeah. Now I remember, I got totally sidetracked. So the Purple Tape got split into two things. All the songs that made up the Purple Tape, which was released in 2002, right? Like way after the Pixies are done, in the interim before they reunited. The Purple Tape gets released in 2002. All the songs that were left off of Come On Pilgrim, and the rest, Come On Pilgrim, that was their first release. And that came out in 87. They released an album a year. 87 was Come On Pilgrim, 88 Surfer Rosa, 89 Doolittle, 90 Bossa Nova, and 91 was Trompe la Monde. And then they toured a lot in 1992, and they broke up in 93. And they didn't release a new record until, I believe, 2013 was the first time they released a new record. So it was almost 21 years before the Pixies released a new record. Okay, let's take a quick sponsor break, and then we're going to dive in to the thing, the whole ceremony. We're going to start with the Purple Tape, by the way. Let me tell you real quick about Riot Stickers. Riot Stickers is the official sponsor of the Frumess channel. You can get 200 stickers for $69 when you go to riotstickers.com/Frumess. Link is down in the description. Make sure that you get your Riot Stickers, $69, 200 stickers, die cut stickers. You can get Frank Black's bald head, on a sticker, because that's what a die cut sticker. It's like the shape of the sticker, and it's really great. So Riot Stickers. Let's play the theme song, and we're going to dive into it.
We make stickers, banners, and buttons too, posters and promo cards. There's nothing we can't print for you. From stage backdrops to bass drum heads, we can print on shirts, we can print on hats, we can print on pants. Cheap prices and high quality, quick turnaround times and free shipping. We also offer free artwork support, great customer service, and so much more. RiotStickers.com, Riot Stickers, we are the bomb. RiotStickers.com, Riot Stickers, we are the bomb. RiotStickers.com, Riot Stickers, we are the bomb. RiotStickers.com, Riot Stickers, we are the bomb.
And that is a promise. Okay, let's go through it here. You know what I'm going to do this time? We didn't do this last time, but we're going to do this from now on. I'm going to share my screen so we can actually see here on Wikipedia. Boom. Starting right now. We're starting right now with Pixies EP, aka the Purple Tape. Let me go to my list. Okay, so again, this is really hard. This is not an easy thing to do at all, because I love all these songs. It's like asking me to cut off two of my fingers and say which one's going to hurt more. Like, I love all these songs. I do. So there's no worst song for me, but we have to have one in the worst category. And so for this one, I'm going to start off with the best, and the best on the Purple Tape for me has to be, like, without a shadow of a doubt, I guess I'm going to have to go with their cover of In Heaven, Lady in the Radiator song. In heaven, everything is fine. In heaven. Frank Black Francis, he's called Black Francis until 1993, and then he changed his name to Frank Black. Black Francis used to be the one that did the lead vocal on In Heaven, and when he did it, he would shriek. And that's the thing. The one thing we did not talk about with the Pixies, I think it's important when discussing In Heaven, Lady in the Radiator song, is you have a key element besides the surrealism, besides the surf guitar, besides, like, just there's so many things. You have two lead singers in the band, surprisingly. And no, I'm not talking about Kim Deal. I'm talking about Joey Santiago. That's right. What? Yeah. Here's my hot take. I don't know if this is a hot take. This feels pretty hot to me, though. Joey Santiago is singing with his guitar in the same way that Black Francis is singing with his voice. And Joey Santiago, he makes that guitar scream in a way that is parallel to the way that Black Francis shrieks when he is, belting out Tame or whatever, just in different ways. Joey has a way of bending notes that make it sound like he finds a way to get his guitar to sound like it is wailing in pain. And sometimes when Black Francis is singing a particular lyric, like it sounds like he's in pain. It sounds like it's coming from a deeply emotional, a primal place, even if the lyrics don't mean anything like he claims they do, which I don't agree with. I don't believe that. I think they all mean something to him. They just doesn't want to say what they are, but so he's coming from a deep place. You listen to a song like Saint Nazaire, you listen to the Sad Punk, you listen to Something Against You, to listen to Tame, you hear the pain, the anger, there's something, not anger, but you hear pain. And Joey Santiago, he does the same thing with his guitar. They're in tandem in that kind of way. So you have two lead singers. And so that's a very important key element to the Pixie sound. And one of the best examples, besides maybe Tame, of Black Francis, like showing the vocal ferocity that he is capable of. I would put Black Francis in 1987 to 1989, I would put up against any heavy metal, whatever, death metal vocalist. I challenge any one of those guys to shriek the way that Black Francis shrieks. Another signature to the Pixie sound is the loud, quiet, loud dynamic that would later, be appropriated by Kurt Cobain in his efforts to write a Pixie song. And that came out as Smells Like Teen Spirit. So when you think about the greatness of Smells Like Teen Spirit, you really need to think about how great the Pixies are, because Kurt Cobain, who was obsessed with Surfer Rosa and later hired Steve Albini, the producer of Surfer Rosa, to produce their follow-up record to Nevermind, was just trying to write a Pixie song with loud, quiet, loud dynamics. What does that mean? It means that there's a loud part and then followed by a quiet part. And part of that loud part was Black Francis's vocals. And what I guess one of the first examples of that, I guess you could include Come On Pilgrim with that, because that was the entirety of the Purple Tape. But In Heaven, Lady in the Radiator song. And there's a moment in the end when he's singing the chorus, and he just he sort of goes into this like guttural agony in his performance. And there's something so raw and primal and pure. You know what there is? There's an honesty. There's an honesty to it. And it's an honesty that I connected with as a youth, you know what I mean? As a youth. And I just, so for me, I got to put In Heaven, Lady in the Radiator song as the best thing. And then eventually Kim Deal would take over singing In Heaven, and eventually Paz and whatever female bassist is accompanying them sings In Heaven, everything is fine. And, it's fine. It's good. Another part of the appeal of the Pixies is Kim Deal's voice. I fell in love with Kim Deal's voice. I fell in love. Imagine falling in love with a disembodied voice. That's what happened to me. I fell in love with her voice, her hauntingly beautiful voice. That is the perfect, once again, talking about dynamic contrast with someone like Black Francis, whether they're locking their vocals or whether they're contrasting their vocals, it just works. So eventually, for whatever reason, I don't know what the reason is why that happened, she started singing In Heaven, Lady in the Radiator song, which is fine, but that's not, so for my quote unquote worst, I am going with I'm amazed. Yes, if I had to rank all of the Pixie songs, remember I said I love all the Pixie songs, but if I had to rank them, probably somewhere at the bottom would be Brick is Red and I'm Amazed. Yeah, man. I don't know. I'm not a fan. I like the 1986, 1987, the original version of I'm Amazed is a lot better than the version that was on Surfer Rosa. They took out like the middle eight, the all the hearts and all the hearts and all the down 2 3 4. I'm amazed. Even before the purple tape, there was another tape. It's called Black Frank. It was released as Frank Black Francis, and it was sort of done as like a sort of a career spanning thing. And it was a demo. It wasn't a demo. It was an acoustic reference tape that was made by Black Francis for Gary Smith before they were even going to go in and do the songs that would be on the purple tape. And to me, it is the Pixies songwriting at its most raw and purest form. It's wonderful to hear Black Francis. These are rough sketches of these songs, and a lot of the, it's interesting because you hear how the songs sort of evolved into what they became. And one of the things that evolved was I'm Amazed lost that little section, which I think is far more charming. But I'm putting it here because, frankly, I can't. I guess I could have almost even put Here Comes Your Man. I'm not a big fan of this version of Here Comes Your Man. I much prefer the Doolittle version is perfection, right? I could have put that on there as well. I don't know. I put I'm Amazed though. So I'm Amazed is the quote unquote worst. And then the underrated track. This was great because up until this point, I had never listened to this song. This was a song that was very much in their early canon. They performed it live at gigs. It's a really rare song because it doesn't appear anywhere else except it only appears in two places. It appears on the purple tape, and it appears, I think, it appears on Frank Black Francis, right? And it appears on Live at the Fallout, which was a bonus show on the 2005. They did a 2005 DVD Live at Boston. They had a bonus show from Halloween of 1986 that had Rock of My Soul on it. And there's some bootlegs that have early versions of Rock of My Soul. Eventually they scrapped it. They just stopped playing it, man. And I don't know why, because it's just such a great song. Criminally underrated. In fact, I should really put that as, I should have put that also probably could have been the best of the record as well. And we have to move on, because if I talk like this, the way that I'm probably going to talk for the rest of these records, we're never going to get the fuck out of here. So let's move on now to Come On Pilgrim. We're going to Come On Pilgrim. Let's mosey on over to Come On Pilgrim. Come on, Pilgrim. You know he loves you. Levitate me higher, please. He kicked the baby. Elevator lady, elevator lady, elevator lady, levitate me and falling. Goddamn, do I love the Pixies. This was really hard. This was difficult. Remember how I said before, make me cut off two of my fingers and then ask me which one hurts the most. This is like the best example, because there's 8 songs. I said there were 7. There's 8 songs, and it is really hard. It's like gun to my head hard. Like, here's a gun to your head. You have friggin' 10 seconds to decide. Oof. This was difficult. This was really difficult. So this is what was released. So the purple tape was sort of informally distributed, but was never released until 2002. As I said, this is the real debut of the Pixies. 20 minutes and 29 seconds of perfection. And this is when we started to get the crazy album art, this super surrealist. I mean, there's such a visual element to all the Pixies songs. When you listen to the lyrics paint pictures in your mind of what is being sung about. And obviously the subject matter is crazy. The first few records, particularly this one, Black Francis is singing a lot about the Bible. He's singing about all these taboo subjects in the Bible of, he sings about incest and just all sorts of stuff like that. Reincarnation is talked about. I don't know. Spirituality is somewhere in there. And a lot of really sort of just surreality, if you will. And it's the perfect length, dude. 20 minutes and 29 seconds. Oh, it's perfection. Perfection, baby. That is perfection. You cannot deny how great it is. So for my best, oh my God, this was difficult. This was very difficult. I know it was much easier to come up with the worst, quote unquote, than it was the best, because almost every song is the best, I guess. Oh my God. All right. So I picked for the best Caribou. Caribou, to me, when I listen to the Caribou, the opening notes of Caribou, this is what opens the Pixies canon for me. And it takes me into a story. When I listen to the song, I imagine drifts, open vistas with drifts of white snow. And I imagine a caribou, right? I imagine a caribou. And it's such a strange song because it kind of starts off, it has this sort of, I don't know what you want to call it. It's like a mariachi Mexican kind of like, I'm not, the adjectives are not coming to me. I live so mad. I hate this street. Give dirt to me. I mean, it's just friggin' great, man. It's just great. Again, a lot of the Pixies songs, they have hooks. The Pixies know how to be poppy. They know how to do pop. But they also do these very weird angular sort of patterns in their music. I don't know what angular chords or something, and the arrangements are strange. And so this one kind of opens up. It's like a mariachi Western sort of feel. And he's singing about, I guess he's kind of singing about feeling guilty about being human and wanting to be kind of reincarnated as a caribou. And I just love it. And it gets really harsh, man, when he starts singing repent, repent, and he's screaming these words, screaming them in a way that would make you feel like when you try to scream along, it makes you feel like your vocal cords have razor blades running through them. You know what I mean? Give me wide, run to run, am forgone, let me live. Knife me lead, I will get what I like. Caribou, caribou. It just, is it good? Repent. Yeah, it's one of the, not only is it the best track for me personally, or at least the one that I'm picking. I mean, what an opener. What a punch you in the gut opener to suck you into what this band is. And it goes right into, listen, it cannot be denied. Vamos is a pretty good second follow-up track. As important as it is to have an opening track, having a really solid follow-up track 2 is just as important. Unfortunately, if I had to cut a single song, and this is kind of how I did the worst. Instead of worst, I was like, what would I cut? What would I cut from the record? What I consider to be a perfect record, what would I cut out of it if you made me cut a song? And for me, when I looked at all the songs, I had to go with Vamos. Why? Because there's 2 versions of Vamos. They re-recorded it for Surfer Rosa. I think that's the superior one. And I think this is a simplified version of Vamos. It's funny, there's 3 or 4 versions of Vamos out there. I mean, like studio sort of versions. Well, there's the Black Francis tape. There's the purple tape version. and then there's a Surfer Rosa version. So there's a few different versions. This one is the weakest one, man. It's the weakest one. So for me, I put that as like quote unquote worst. It's just not, it's just not there. And I would love to just sit and go through the entire I'd love to do a track by track and just talk about each song and like what it is. And I could be here all night doing it. So for the sake of brevity, I'm moving on to my underrated track. This was the hardest one because I really wanted to pick Holiday Song. I really wanted to pick Nimrod Sun. Holiday Song into Nimrod Sun could have been a great alternate. In fact, I'm going to call it my honorable mention because even though they're two separate songs, they kind of flow into each other and they're both kind of about, I think I don't know if the Holiday Song is about incest as much as Nimrod Sun is about incest. Both songs, what's interesting about Nimrod Sun is that it's about discovering who you really are. And once you know who you really are, the shame of who you really are and wanting to be, buried far, far away from, in obscurity. I don't know. Kind of interesting. And of course, I've been tired. Oh my God. 1, 2, 3. She's a real wild winner because she's been down south. Said, I could tell you stories that could make you cry. What about you? I said, me too. I could tell you a story that could make you cry. And she said, I said, I want to be a singer like Lou Reed. I like Lou Reed. She said, sticking her tongue in my ear. Let's go. Let's sit. Let's talk. Politics go so good with beer. And how about it? Why don't you tell me one of your biggest fears? I said, losing my penis to a hole with disease. Just kidding. I said, losing my life with a hole with disease. She said, excuse me, please. I said, losing my life to a hole with disease. She said, please. I'm sorry. I just fucking love that song. So I'm a healthy desire. It's so fucking good. And Levitate Me feels like a prayer. Levitate Me is a prayer. Yeah. And the refrain, lady elevator, lady elevator, lady levitate. I feel like that's kind of like a callback to Lady in the Radiator, kind of interesting. But in any case, the song that I actually picked was Ed Is Dead, because Ed Is Dead is just so fucking good. It's just so fucking good, man. That's when, it's funny. The thing about the Pixies too is like, Black Francis, because he spent some time on Puerto Rico, and he learned Spanish and just randomly starts singing songs in Spanish. Donde no hay sufrimiento, donde no hay sufrimiento, donde es por la calle, isla de encanta. Me voy, but no. Hey, babe, what are we doing here? Down. Ah! Oh, Padria, isla de encanta. Me voy. Venonita, bien conmigo. And donde es por la calle, isla de. And the same thing with Vamos, Vamos a jugar por la playa. Vamos a jugar. So he'd like randomly like pop into Spanish. It's so weird. They're like singing Spanish, but playing surf rock, but also playing punk rock, because Isla de Encanto is a punk rock song. And then I really feel like you launch back into, like, in the same way that Caribou feels like this really surreal song, you get that sense again with something like Ed Is Dead, which is such a strange idea. Ed is dead. Ed is dead. Baby, no. She's just riding a stupid mill with music on her bars now. Her face burning in the LA sun. She got no fear of. If I keep doing that, we're gonna be here all night. Ed Is Dead is my pick for underrated, because it's just, I feel like everybody knows how awesome Ed Is Dead is, but like people just don't talk about how awesome Ed Is Dead. And whenever I meet someone named Ed, in my mind, I am singing Ed Is Dead, E-I-D, no, because I can't help it. I just can't help it. All right. Moving on, we're on to Surfer Rosa. Now, remember how I said I love the Pixies because I love Pixies so much? My dream, my goal in life, I'm not even kidding. I swear this. my dream was to name my daughter Surfer Rosa. I wanted to name my daughter straight up Surfer Rosa Frumess. That was going to be her name. Rosa would have been like her everyday vernacular, but her full legal name was to be Surfer Rosa in my heart of hearts. And I fought tooth and nail and was met with such like pushback of nope. No matter what I tried, I begged, I pleaded, I wanted Surfer Rosa as her name. My daughter's name is a beautiful name. I love my daughter's name. My daughter is named Noah, Noa, Noah, which is the lesser known Noah from the Torah. Long story. She's kind of like the first feminist or whatever. I don't know. Noah, and her middle name, we were deciding on middle names. I said, okay, you're not going to give me Surfer Rosa, which is like, fuck. How about Anna? I want Anna, after the song Anna by the Pixies, which when you look at the lyrics to Anna, like, what the fuck was I thinking? But here's the thing. Anna, she's my fave, undressing in the sun, return to see, forgetting everyone, 11 high, ride a wave. That spells out surfer. Each letter of the line in the song spells out surfer. And Frank Black did the same thing with off of Teenager of the Year. Speedy Marie spells out the name of his wife. So surfer. So Anna is sort of like subversively, I got the surfer that I wanted in the name. I just didn't get Surfer Rosa, but yes. And as to the art, this to me is one of the greatest album covers of all time. And it's not because of the nudity per se. It's not the nudity. It's not. It's really not. It's just so beautiful. There's something, the art really sort of exemplifies to me, like visually, just like Come On Pilgrim does. It just tells me who the Pixies are. It tells me who the Pixies are. It allows me to visualize who the Pixies are. So this record was released in '88. It was produced by Steve Albini, who recently passed away. R.I.P. Steve Albini. Steve Albini would get really tight with Kim Deal, and he would end up producing the Breeders, which eventually led to a lot of the acrimony. Partially led to the acrimony between Black Francis and Kim Deal. Surfer Rosa is a beloved. I mean, all of the Pixies records are beloved in some way, shape, or form. Surfer Rosa is legendary. I don't know if that's because of like Kurt Cobain's worship of Surfer Rosa, but I mean, fuck. You know, again, I would never want to get like nudity tattooed on my body, but like I would almost want like this senorita lady. I guess she is Surfer Rosa. I would want to get that. I would want to get that tattooed right here. Kind of like Petunia from Pete and Pete. You know what I mean? I love that so much. I really do. I think it's just so beautiful. If I didn't have small children in the house, I would get that framed and have it hanging in our living room. Maybe when they're older, they'll be like, Dad, you're gross. Like, what's wrong with you, Dad? I'll be like, you don't understand. You don't understand, kids. Surfer Rosa, though, as legendary and beloved as Surfer Rosa is, for me, people are going to listen. I don't know, people like a million people watch these things. Nobody watches this shit. I'm just saying, if Pixies fans watch this, they might be annoyed with what I'm going to say, but I'm just going to friggin' say it. This is controversial. My problem with Surfer Rosa, I love Surfer Rosa to death, but it's unevenly sequenced. There, I said it. The record is unevenly sequenced, and that's what leads me to my picks, as a matter of fact, unfortunately. The first half of the album is so unbelievably, infallibly strong. It's strong. It's as strong as anything they've done. I mean, it's just Bone Machine and To Break My Body, Something Against You, Broken Face, Gigantic, River Euphrates, Where's My Mind? And then after track 7, it just sort of it just, listen, it's great. I love Cactus. I love Tony's theme. I love Oh My Golly. I love that version of Almost. I'm Amazed, and I like Brick is Red. I like all those songs, don't get me wrong. But because of the way it's sequenced, it's like, why not put Something Against You? As much as I love having it as the third track, why not make it the final track? Actually, if I had to make the final track, if I had to change some of the sequencing here, ready for this? Here's how I would change the sequencing from track 7 to 13. Okay, bear with me on this. I would put in dead last place to close the album would be Oh My Golly, like hands down. Second to last track would be Tony's theme. Third to last track would be Where Is My Mind? So track 13 is Oh My Golly. Track 12 is Tony's theme. Track 11 is Where Is My Mind? Then track 10 is Vamos. Then track 9 is going to be Brick is Red. Track 8 is going to be I'm Amazed. And track 7 is going to be Cactus. That's how I would restructure Surfer Rosa to make it much stronger, a much stronger sequencing. Because after Where Is My Mind, I mean, I love, like, you're going to see how much I love Oh My Golly. It sort of peters out. And by the time we get to the end, another reason why, again, I just go ending your legendary album, ending an album as strong as that starts off with Bone Machine into Break My Body, into Something Against You, into Broken Face. Holy shit. That is a 4-quadrant punch in the face. That is a 4-quadrant punch in your eardrums, right? Like, and then to finish it out with I'm Amazed into Brick is Red. It's like a wet fart. I'm sorry. Like, the songs are fine. Leave the songs on the record, but push them up into the center of the record and finish strong with Oh My Golly is such an album closer, if you ask me. And in fact, that is my best. Oh no, sorry, it's not. That's my, I messed up. So I put for my best, this was a coin toss. I mean, because Bone Machine, Something Against You, Broken Face, all of these songs could have been the best. Bone Machine, talk about openers. How do you follow up an opener like Caribou? You go with Bone Machine, motherfucker. Bone Machine, holy shit. That is a great song. Who's like, what a lyric. Our love is rice and beans and horses lard. Someone in college like broke that down for me. That covers all of the nutritional needs you fat, carbohydrates, and fiber. Rice, beans, and horses lard. Right? Our love is rice and beans and horses lard. I was talking to Peachy Peach about Kissy Kiss. You buy me a soda. Try to listen to the parking lot. Yep. I make you make me hot. Your Irish skin looks Mexican. Our love is rice and beans and horses. Oh, so good. And then it goes into Break My Body, which, again, going back to a really strong secondary song. Oh my God, Break My Body. I'm a horny loser. What a raw, honest lyric. I'm a horny loser. Oh my God, I'm a building jumper. You see me flying through the air. Break my body. What does that mean? Break my body. Hold my bones. Like, you're going to destroy, like, again, super surreal, super abstract, but like so much meaning can be pulled out of there. Break my body, but hold my bones. You're going to break. I mean, you could look at it in a sexual way. Man, there's so much to pull from it. Somebody got hurt. Somebody got hurt. Somebody got hurt. I'm going to listen to all these records tomorrow. Like, that's what's going to happen. And then Something Against You, man. I don't even know what to say about the song. It's It absolutely could have been on my underrated. I didn't pick it for my underrated. I have no splits. There's no split places. I did that with the Misfits and some others. I was very strict on this one. I said one song, you pick one song. Doesn't mean I'm not going to talk about how awesome Something Against You is. Where, I mean, like, think about listen to the vocals. Listen to how Steve Albini recorded those fucking vocals on Something Against You. Oh my God. It is a brutal song. It starts off with this buildup. And it feels like a nervous breakdown. It feels like a nervous breakdown happening in real time. You can feel, it's almost like you could imagine a camera slowly dollying in on somebody's eyeball. And then like you see an image of like fire exploding out of the eyeball. And then like that, this is where my mind goes when I listen to these songs. So that could have been my underrated Something Against You. I didn't pick that. Here is what I picked for my worst, or I don't like that cut. We'll say, what will we cut from the record? I would cut Brick is Red, baby. And the reason why I didn't pick I'm Amazed is because I think when I have to look, if you put I'm Amazed in this hand and you put Brick is Red in this hand and I have to weigh the two, I'm Amazed is going to tip the scale, man, or I'm going to tip the scale, and Brick is Red is out. I guess the reason why I have such a sort of resentment against Brick is Red is because, again, I'm going back to the sequencing of the album. How do you end a record with Brick is Red? It feels a bit lazy, especially because we know that they've recorded some of the Doolittle songs. Maybe you're saving some of those Doolittle songs for the Doolittle record. I just feel like and like you think about, like, again, why not? Okay, so let's say, okay, let's not do Brick is Red, or let's add one more track and make it a 14 track record. End the fucking thing with Rock of My Soul. Put Rock of My Soul on Surfer Rosa. So let's say we leave the sequencing exactly the way it is. We don't do that crazy sequencing we were talking about before. And instead you put Rock of My Soul as track 14. Mwah, mwah, mwah. But Brick is Red as the closer doesn't work. Does not work. It's not time for me to go. I mean, I don't know, man. It's just the color of I don't know, man. Doesn't work. Doesn't work. As the closer, it's cut. It's cut. It's off the island. If this was Survivor, you're off the island, Brick is Red. And then for my underrated, and this really could also have been the best of the record, Oh My Golly. Oh My Golly. Again, another Spanish-speaking track. I don't know what the fuck is going on. And this is where not every single album takes its name either from a song title or from a lyric. Come On Pilgrim is from Levitate Me. And in this case, Surfer Rosa comes from Oh My Golly. Besendo something, kissing and fucking Surfer Rosa. Oh my golly, oh my golly. Hold on, let me look up Oh My Golly lyrics. There is a live version of Oh My Golly with Tenacious D and Frank Black, and it is heaven. It is sublime. It is unbelievable. You have to listen to it. Go check it out. Here's what he's singing. Besendo con I can't pronounce Spanish. Besando chicando con Surfer Rosa. So that's where it comes from. Dentro la piones las olas pequeñas, oh my golly, caminos baja la luna caribe, oh my golly, besando continuo con Surfer Rosa, oh my golly, entonces su manera, oh my golly, Rosa, oh, Rosa, Rosa, oh, Rosa, It's just such a strange song. It is the best of the strangeness of the Pixies. It's my, like, the way that I'm wired as a human being is so represented in whatever Oh My Golly is, and just in terms of the weirdness that it embodies and represents. And I just fucking I love it. Bien partida la ceferosa. Oh my gale, la vadia todos una porquire. Oh my gale, mi hecho menos me que vida. Oh my gale, Rosa. Oh man, if I could play guitar and sing, this would be a song that would be in my set list, like hands down. I just fucking love it. Okay, come on. It's time to move on. We got to move on. Here's the big guns. Ready? So, like I said before, my first real introduction to the Pixies, my first truest introduction to the Pixies is, of course, Doolittle. And I have a Pixies tattoo, which I'm kind of embarrassed of. Yes. I have the 5, 6, and 7 tattooed on my arm because of, yes, Monkey Gone to Heaven. Doolittle is a deeply, deeply personal album for me. It is a record that is part of my soul as a human being. I've listened to Doolittle hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of times in my life. I love this record with every fiber of my being. It is, like I said, it is a piece of my soul. This record spoke to me. The lyrics spoke to me. For a long time, I sort of pieced together, interpretations of the songs. I just love this record so much, and I could spend hours talking about it. Okay, so the best of the record. This was nearly impossible. This was, of all the impossibilities, this was impossible. And I got to a place because I was going for deep cuts or deeper cuts and going, well, this is the best of the record. But I'm going, no, come on. You have to be more objective. You have to think more commercially. What makes it, like, if you're introducing the Pixies to somebody, what is the best of this record? And that's what I used as the criteria in order to pick the best of this record, because every single one of these songs would have just been the best, because there's not, and the truth of the matter is there's really not a song you can cut, although I did find a song to cut, and it's the song I was kind of what I was talking about before. But just to talk a little bit about, again, in the same way that Surfer Rosa, has that 1, 2, 3, 4 punch, the opening 4 songs, so too does Doolittle, opening with Debaser, which I picked as the best. That's right. I had to. Debaser, to me, like, I'm a filmmaker, and I consider myself to be somewhat, there's a lot of surrealism in my filmmaking. A lot of, what I attempt to do as a narrative filmmaker is sort of influenced by some of the strangeness of the Pixies. And when I heard the song Debaser, and I heard it right around the time that I wanted to become a filmmaker, and like realize that, like, this is who I am, and this is what I want to be for the rest of my life, and this is what I'm going to try and do for the rest of my life. And I've pretty much stuck to that since for the last 20 years, since 2004. I've wanted, and I've made, up to this point, I've made a handful of feature films. I'm working on my 3rd narrative feature film, probably my strangest film to date right now. But when I think about what encompasses my sort of mission statement of wanting to make movies, I think about the song Debaser. Got me a movie, I want you to know. Slicing up eyeballs, I want you to know. Girlie's so groovy, I want you to know. Don't know about you, but I am un shun Andalusia. I feel that in my heart, in my soul. What is he saying? Slicing up eyeballs. He's talking about Un Chun Andalou, which is a surrealist film by Luis Buñuel, I'm butchering that, and Salvador Dali, the surrealist painter. And it's a very famous, iconic, public domain film from 1922. And it shows a woman, they had a vision of the moon cutting through, or a cloud cutting across the moon. And so they took a cow eye and they slit it open with a straight razor, as if it was this woman's eye. And like the idea of, like, I want to assault your eyeballs with the movies that I'm making. And that, as a young 20-year-old, I was like, or 19-year-old, I was like, fuck yeah, Debaser, man. I'm a debaser, man. I'm a debase. Yeah, got me a movie, baby. Girl is so groovy, baby. Like that was what I was. That's what I wanted to be. I wanted to be a debaser. I wanted to be a debaser. And like the perfect use of Kim Deal's backing vocals and just the pop sensibilities. This is when the Pixies were like, hey, guess what? We can also, like, their first two records, like Come On Pilgrim and Surfer Rosa, those are like, they're not very poppy. Like, sure, you have Where Is My Mind, but nobody knew that was like, that had like commerciality. And Gigantic was probably one of the most commercial songs of those early songs. I'd say Gigantic was the most commercial, one of them. But Debaser is really the first time that the Pixies demonstrate that, like, hey, we can make commercial pop music. And that's what Debaser is. And it's just that, I mean, you listen to that and you go, oh shit. Like, again, oh, look at where 90s alternative rock comes from Debaser, man. Got me a movie. Oh, slicing up. It's just so fucking good, man. It's just a great, one of the best album openers ever, man. So far, as we've going through the records, man, the Pixies, from Come On Pilgrim to Surfer Rosa to Doolittle. And where does Doolittle come from? Doolittle comes from the song Mr. Greaves, hope everything is all right. Hope everything is all. What's that floating in the water? On the tombstones on the daughter. I believe in Mr. Greaves. Pray for a man in the middle, one that talks like Doolittle. And there's there's a band called TV on the Radio, and I don't really know them very well, but they do an a cappella version of Mr. Greaves that is just so charming. It was on the Righteous Gemstones, and it just works so well. It's beautiful. It's beautiful and soulful and wonderful. I want to talk about the whole album. I can't. I have to just cover the basics here. I came very close to putting Tame on my list because Tame, the thing though, in terms of like the underrated song, Tame was almost that. Oh, I'll get to that in a minute. Let me get to that in a minute. So Debaser is my best. My worst, this is going to sound kind of hipsterish, but it's true, especially considering that I have a tattoo. I have a Monkey Gone to Heaven tattoo. That's right. On my shoulder, I have 5, 6, 7. If man is 5 and the devil is 6, if the devil is 6, then God is 7. And at the time, it seemed like a really good idea. Would I ever get rid of it? No, because it's just that just represented my mindset and what I believed at the time. And I don't know. But Monkey Gone to Heaven is such a played out fucking song, dude. I just can't hear it anymore. It's one of their most popular songs. It's just, it's got some nice strings. Gil Norton would produce the rest of the Pixies records of the original canon. Gil Norton would work with them on Doolittle, Bossa Nova, and Trompe Le Monde, and he was great. British guy, great producer. He put some nice strings on Monkey Gone to Heaven. He really does feel like kind of like the George Martin to the Pixies Beatles, if you ask me. Monkey Gone to Heaven, if I have to cut one track from this record, it's going to be Monkey Gone to Heaven, unfortunately. Again, I would leave it in, and I like Monkey Gone to Heaven. Again, sort of a parable about pollution, a little bit, just like Mr. Greaves is as well. But yeah, oh my God, Crackety Jones. Like, oh God, I love this fucking record. I really do. I love every song. Monkey Gone to Heaven is my worst, my quote unquote worst. I had to put it on there. And then for my underrated, again, Dead could have been underrated. Tame. You think about a song like Tame, there's so much to say about God hips. Like, it's like, this song is psychotic, dude. It is a psychotic song. It is a song. It's a song about really being into someone. And just like I think the frustration of how stupid they are, or how shallow they are as a person. Got hips like Cinderella, must have been having a good shame, talking sweet about nothing. Cookie, I think you're tame. And it's the juxtaposition of Tame and the way he screams it. If you've never listened to Tame, go put it on right now. Like stop the stream, go listen to Tame. And listen to him like, think about it. The juxtaposition, the word tame means tame. I'm tame. But the way he screams, and he just goes on and on. And I know if you are a Pixies fan and you have been frustrated in your life, I know that you have driven around in your car screaming the chorus of Tame. We all have done it. And nobody can equal Black Francis on the recording. How did he manage to do that? I do not know. But no, Tame is not my underrated pick. Dead almost made it to. Dead is a strange, angular song that shouldn't work, but it does. Again, going back to the Bible stuff, talking about Uriah and aping, raping, taping, catharsis. You get torn down and I get erected. My blood is pumping. My heart is pumping, but my blood is dead. No, my blood is pumping, but my heart is dead. Hey, what do you know? Your lovely tan belly is starting to grow. The way that Joey comes in with that guitar lick, like everything, it's like these two things are happening. You're climbing this hill that doesn't make any sense, and everything's like angular and strange. And then you go down a hill, and it's like suddenly the guitar riff just works. I'm gonna go sit in the hammock in the like staring up at the stars and just listen to like Doolittle from start to finish, like when I'm done with this, because I just have to if the mosquitoes don't get me. But no, that's not what I picked either. I picked and I could have picked number 13. How could you not? Verda, don't want no blowers, la Loma. I want brown eyes there. I'm in a state. I mean, it's just impossible, man. And There Goes My Gun. I think the BBC version of There Goes My Gun is far more brutal and wonderful and harsh than the one on the track. And of course, there's Gouge Away. And hey, I named my second feature film is named Gouge Away. Okay. It was called Wash Away. That movie died. I rechristened the movie. It's called Gouge Away. That's how much I fucking love. You think about that song. Oh my God. That could have been, that wouldn't have been underrated. That would have been, and talk about an album closer. Finally, the Pixies get it right. After the miss that is Surfer Rosa. They did a good job with Levitate Me. And then they come back with Gouge Away. What an album closer. I can still remember where I was driving, what I was thinking when I heard Gouge Away for the first time. The moment that last note ended and I had to put it back on to the beginning. I could have put any of these songs as my underrated song. Instead, I picked I Bleed. As loud as hell, a ringing bell. Behind my smile, it shakes my teeth. And all the while vampires feed, I bleed. I mean, could have done Wave of Mutilation too. Another brilliant fucking track. I Bleed. There's something about I Bleed. It's just, oh, is it good? It's just so friggin' good. Prithee, my dear, why are we here? Nobody knows. We go to sleep as breathing flows. My mind secedes. I bleed. I Bleed is actually it's a death rock song. It's a post-punk death rock song. There's a lot of that kind of DNA on this record. And then they're also doing Beatles, because Here Comes Your Man, again, which they did a music video for, one of the most poppy. There's so much pop on Here Comes Your Man. Right? I mean, it literally, that opening chord is meant to mimic A Hard Day's Night. And it's about hobos. It's about hobos. It's about a hobo that whose head gets like broken open. But that's when you fall in love with Kim Deal's voice. You listen to that song and you go, oh my God, I don't know who you are, but like your voice, like I'm in love with you because your voice is the most heavenly thing I've ever heard. You never wait so long, so long, so long. You never wait so long. You hear that so long, so long. There's like this playfulness to it. Oh my God. You fall in love. You don't even know what Kim Deal looks like, but you fall in love with her because of her voice. So I had to pick I Bleed. I ended up picking I Bleed, but the reality is that there was too much not to pick. So it was very hard. This was very, very hard to do. And very, it could have been interchangeable. Now, this is where a big divide happens. Come On Pilgrim, Surfer Rosa, Doolittle, these records sort of represent the earlier canon of the Pixies, right? A lot of the subject matter is about the Bible and incest and all these different things and blah 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 blah. A lot of the songs are similar. There's a lot of Spanish. And then there's a shift that happens, and maybe it's because Bossa Nova, which is the next record, which we're going to talk about, and there are people who love Bossa Nova. I love Bossa Nova. Of course, I love Bossa Nova. Bossa Nova, every morning and every day. I want a Bossa Nova with ya. From the song Hangwire. Bossa Nova is the first time that they try and write in the studio. So Black Francis is writing in the studio. And this is also the thing we're not talking about up to this point. Kim Deal has had a certain amount of collaboration. And maybe this should be saved for its own video, talking about Black Francis. Black Francis has consolidated like the creative output within the Pixies, you know what I mean? Which has made it very hard for him to write after having a solo career, because a lot of his material, some in those later albums, sounds like they could be Frank Black songs, and that creates its own problems. This is the first time that Black Francis, he's not going to Kim for any kind of help. He's minimizing Kim Deal's contributions to the band, and that has to do with some stuff that happened, including Kim was kicked out of the band. There was a lot of animosity and tension, jealousy between Black Francis and Kim Deal. Josh Frank wrote in his oral history of the Pixies, which is a great read if you haven't read it. Came out in 2005, called "Fool the World," and there is a brief mention of the sexual tension between Kim Deal and Black Francis. I always felt that there was a tension like that between those two. I think it's indicative of this in the songwriting, and I think that might even almost be like an unrequited love situation. Who knows? There's a lot of like amazing wonderment on Bossa Nova, man. Talk about opening your album with a cover by the Surf Tones called Cecilia Ann, and it's great, and it leads into just, there's a signature, I guess you could call it, it's like a Black Francis screamer on every single, album. And for this one, it's rock music, man. So you had Tame, Something Against You, and maybe Caribou would qualify on Come On Pilgrim, since that's where he's really shrieking with his vocals. Oh, crap. My watch face go. And man, what a strong, again, 1, 2, 3, 4, Cecilia Ann into rock music, into Valoria, into Allison, bam, boom, bing. I mean, that is a strong opening section again. But I think Bossa Nova, conceptually, Bossa Nova kind of suffers a little bit, not to the extent that Surfer Rosa does, but Bossa Nova suffers a little bit from sequencing problems, a little bit. I would have maybe resequenced it. I'm not going to sit here and try and figure that out off the top of my head right now. I mean, again, it's sort of sacrilegious to even say any of these things, because the sequencing is like, it's religion. It is religion. Like it's set in stone. Like I can't imagine changing the sequencing. I guess it's just me like nitpicking these things. So what did I pick for my best? I picked a song that I felt really overall encompasses the feeling of Bossa Nova, which is where Black Francis, he starts really writing about like UFOs. He starts writing about like outer space more. This record and the next record, they feel like space records, to be honest with you. And the song I picked is Valoria. I picked Valoria as the best song. I love this song. It's just so I can't even begin to talk. I mean, it has the most Kim Deal on it. In fact, I'd say it's the best use of Kim Deal arranged vocals on a post Doolittle album is probably Valoria. And it just really encapsulates what this whole record feels like. And it feels like a record almost of optimism to me, I guess, would be a good way to put it. But there's just a lot of great songs. What did I pick as the worst? Quote unquote, the worst. This is a song that could be cut. In my opinion, you could cut this from Bossa Nova, and I wouldn't mind. Dig for Fire, which is them trying to do the Talking Heads. And if I had to, like, when I'm thinking about like ranking all of the Pixies songs, if I had to put one at the very, very bottom, it's very possible that Dig for Fire might be it. I really am bothered by it. It's probably of the 5 albums, it's probably my least favorite song. I would say, I honest truth right there. I think, it's like a Talking Heads kind of vibe, and I don't know. It just takes me out of that. I don't feel like it cohesively fits in with the other songs on the record too. So that's why it's on there. That's for my worst. Now for my underrated, a lot of different songs could have been underrated, man. I could have put All Over the World. I could have put Stormy Weather, Hangwire. I mean, all these songs are great. Blown Away, Hangwire, and Stormy Weather are kind of like, it's like a trilogy. It's like a sequence trilogy, and I don't know, those songs always they're kind of fillery. They feel like filler songs, like Hangwire. I don't know. I like them. Don't get me wrong. I like them all, but they feel a little. Stormy Weather is just like, they feel like they all kind of like repeat the same thing over and over again. I'll put it this way. They have the flavor of, they feel like they were written in the studio. I don't know if they were, but they feel like they were. Down to the Well is one of the earliest Pixie songs. Predates even Come on Pilgrim. Down to the Well was on the Purple tape, one of the songs on the Purple tape. And they took out, Kim Deal used to have this cool, like, boom, chicka doom, chicka doom, chicka down, 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 down. And they sort of slowed down the pacing. It almost has like it's like, it almost feels like it's on lithium. Like it's just real, like slow. I don't know. I can't describe it. I love it though. I love that version. My underrated song I had to pick was The Happening. How could I not pick The Happening? They Got a Ranch They Call number 51. They Got a Ranch They Call number 51. It's just so good. And then The Happening dovetails into a thing called The Thing, which is also on the B-Sides record. I was driving, doing my thing on the shores of the Big Salt Lake. They will put it in the air, they put it in the Himalayan. I soon forgot myself and I forgot about the rain. They forgot about the news and the name is Hill. I know them down to Vegas because they're putting on a show. The Happening is just, it's haunting, and it's like 2 songs in one, and I love it. It's just a great underrated track. I mean, I don't think it's underrated per se. Like people like that song. But that's my underrated track that I put there. What I almost put there. Oh shit. Oh my God. I totally fucked up here. I fucked up. It's not The Happening. I did not put The Happening. And I forgot. I switched it. You know what it is? It's Javelina, the closing track. Javelina. The reason why I picked Javelina, now I remember. Wow, I feel like an idiot. Okay, The Happening was in a contender for my underrated. I chose Javelina instead. And the reason why I chose Javelina is because, to me, first of all, it feels like a happy ending. Feels like a happy ending. When I end the record, I feel really good. I'm in a good place. I am not in a good place when Gouge Away ends. When Gouge Away ends, I need to listen to Debaser, and it starts a cycle. When I listen to Javelina, I'm good. I feel pretty good about that, you know. Walking in the breeze on the plains of old Sedona, Arizona, I picture Tucson, Arizona, even though they say Sedona. I picture Tucson, Arizona, where I used to spend a lot of time in Tucson, Arizona. And I used to be in the foothills. You can see out to the mountains. And that's what I think about. That's what I visualize when I think about javelina. And javelinas are pigs. They're pigs. They're like these wild boars. They come down and they get into the trash, and they're actually really nasty, gnarly creatures that could really fuck you up. And they're a nuisance out there. But there's something very peaceful and serene. And the best part about javelina is at the very end of this happy ending, it ends. Yes, Alex, I agree. Alex says, with the old Spanish colonial architecture in a dim sunset. Exact. You fucking nailed it, Alex. That's exactly what is like kind of in my head. Yep. And that's what I mean by the Pixies. Just they give you this visual, like this rich visual sort of tapestry in your head when you listen to their music, of vistas and things. And Javelina ends on this very happy note. Javelina, and then the very end, there's a note of worry. Go listen to it. Go listen to the very end. Go listen to the very last note of Javelina. And it's like this. It's, you know what it is? It's an untied, what is it? When you tie up loose ends, it's an untied loose end. It's a loose end. It ends on a moment of doubt in the happy ending. And that brings us to Trompe le Monde. Segue into Trompe le Monde. Okay. So for this is the final Pixies record. And I would say, you know, you could, so they, much like with Bossa Nova, they've taken songs, their earliest songs, and they're bringing them back, right? As they're writing in the studio. They did the same thing for Trompe le Monde. They did it with Subculture. I was wearing eyeliner. She's wearing eyeliner. It's so good down here. So for a scrapbook here. Way down in this Subculture. Down. We walked the deck in a black dress, and me, I dress up in black. Oh, is that a good fucking song? But you could tell that something's the creativity starting to run a little dry. You have a cover, and you have one old song that is actually split into a different song, because the original Subculture has a bridge. It goes, "We're having big fun. We're having big fun." And that song turned into, "I had me a vision. There wasn't any television. Look at the sun. Looking into the sun." Eric Drew Feldman from Pere Ubu, he comes in now, and he's kind of like getting involved. And Joey's brother, when they're playing live on the Zoo tour with U2 in 1992, he's playing guitar. Black Francis, he's starting to just like, he's dropping the guitar. He's starting to just be like the lead singer kind of guy, feeling that out. Trompe le Monde is a masterpiece, but it also feels like it is him trying to come up with ideas on the fly. Like, after doing a record, I mean, their output is insane for 6 years, right? It's like, think about how spaced out their records are now, right? Like their last record, well, actually the records aren't that spaced out, but there's some bands, you know, they wait 5 years between records. And the Pixies, Come on Pilgrim is 87, Surfer Rosa 88, Doolittle 89, Bossa Nova 90, Trompe le Monde 91. I mean, the creative mind needs to rest a little bit, right? The output is insane. Their output was insane. They were recording all the time. So they're back in the studio again to do Trompe le Monde. And again, fuck, what a great fucking record. Talk about the 1, 2, 3, 4 punch, man. Trompe le Monde into Planet of Sound, into Alec Oifel, into the Sad Punk, which is one of the most baddest friggin' songs. You can feel the anger and frustration oozing out of Frank Black when he's singing that song. It's great. It's great. So what did I pick for the best on the record? I picked a personal sentimental favorite. I don't know if everybody would agree. In fact, you might even want to put this as the underrated track, although I saved something else for the underrated track. For me, it's Motorway to Roswell. Fuck. And talk about like ending an album the right kind of way. Distance equals rate times time into Lovely Day. Motorway is the perfect penultimate closer, and then you have this coda, the following, which is the Navajo, and that's what ends their canon, and I think it works really, really well. Motorway to Roswell is a song about, for me, when I listen to it, it's not in the lyrics, and obviously it's about, again, he's singing about Mars in several places. Bird Dream of the Olympus Mons is a song about a bird dreaming about the tallest mountain on Mars, which is the Olympus Mons. You have Space, I Believe in. Jeffrey with one F. Jeffrey. I'm gonna start saying I'm Jeffrey with one F. You have Lovely Day is a great song, but Motorway to Roswell to me is about compassion for yourself. I feel like there's something about the music. It's like a song. It has a feeling of like redemption. I don't know if that's the right word. A feeling of trying to love and accept yourself, and sort of just, I can't explain it. It's not in the lyrics. It's in the guitar chords. It's in Joey Santiago's guitar. And it's just a beautiful, beautiful, spiritually wonderful song. I don't know how else to describe it. If I had to cut a song from this record, and I would, there's a song I would cut. It's coming in for my worst song. It's going to be Letter to Memphis, man. It's going to be Letter to Memphis. It's not a bad track. It's okay. It just doesn't, I think conceptually, again, going back to the conceptual, in the same way that Dig for Fire doesn't feel like it fits on Bossa Nova, Letter to Memphis doesn't fit on Trompe le Monde. It just doesn't. I think it would be better on like a B-sides or something. It just doesn't work for me. Never did. You have so many great tracks though. I mean, Palace of the Brine, which is about like these shrimp that live in the Salt Lake, a place where there's not supposed to be any life. And of course, you're talking about Subculture and Alec. I mean, God, just all these fucking songs are great. I wanted to put the Sad Punk as my underrated, and instead I picked the cover, Head On. Here's why I picked it. Head On is originally by a band called Jesus and the Mary Chain. The Pixies version of Head On, we talked about it yesterday. We were going over Michael Graves covering Mother by Danzig, which was a really strange thing to look at. But the thing I kept saying is specifically when it came to that song, if you're going to cover a song like Mother, you better cover it note for fucking note. You better hit every John Christ guitar riff, and you better do it some fucking justice, because if you fuck this up, it's going to be crap. Or the vice versa of that is you need to make it your own. And in this case, the Pixies have made Head On their own. They transformed the song in such a way that it actually feels like a signature Pixies song. So I think if you can make a song if you could take such possession of a song that you didn't write in the best way possible, that's an underrated. And man, when they play Head On live, every time I've heard Head On live, and when I've seen other people see them play Head On live, people lose their fucking minds. They're not expecting it. It feels like a deep cut. It's not. I feel like they play Head On a lot now these days. Oh, do I love Head On? I do. And that brings us to the B-sides. So you have the B-sides record. Now, again, we normally don't do the B-sides. We don't do sorry, what I mean is we don't do compilations. We included the purple tape. I feel like it's okay to include, excuse me. I think it's okay to include the what's it called? The compilation, the B-sides compilations. Go to the discography here, live albums. Yeah, they released a lot of live albums. I remember when they were really into that when they first reunited. So here's the thing. These are all the B-sides to all of these singles. Gigantic, Monkey Gone to Heaven, Here Comes Your Man, Valoria, Dig for Fire, Planet of the Sound, and Alec. They all had strange sort of B-sides, and you have songs like, you have Build High, which is a super early Pixie song, kind of like a Western sort of folky kind of thing. And you also have the very, very strange Bailey's Walk. I mean, it is really, really strange. Santo is another really strange one, just bizarre. My pick, and Alex, who's in the chat, was listening. I don't know if you're still here, Alex. I went with the UK surf version of Wave of Mutilation, which the first time I ever saw the Pixies live, they opened with Wave of Mutilation UK surf version, which is a slowed down, surfier version of Wave of Mutilation. It's beautiful. And they have this little bell chime at one point. It's just a Wave of Mutilation is an incredible, incredible song. Talk about imagery. Cease to Resist, I've Given My Goodbye. Drive my car into the ocean. You think I'm dead, but I sail away on a wave of mutilation. Think about and against the docile tones that are being emitted instrumentally, to be singing on a wave of mutilation, wave of mutilation, wave of mutilation. Wave. Boom, 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 boom. I mean, it's talking about it's like beach themed, but it's like talking about all these things that you've done before you're gonna self-destruct in some way. I've kissed mermaids, rode the El Nino, walked the sand with the crustaceans. He says, could find my way to Mariana. I think he's referring to the Mariana Trench. Could find my way to Mariana as if I'm going to die now. I could find myself in hell. On a wave of me. I love that. I kissed mermaids and I rode the El Nino. I walked the sand with the crustaceans. Such beautiful imagery, man. And there's some wonderful photographs that kind of symbolize a lot of this stuff. I love the Wave UK surf version. There's a lot of tracks on here that could have easily been omitted or could be considered the worst. Weird at My School is a weird track. Bailey's Walk is so bizarre. Santo is so bizarre. You have the instrumental version. What's worse than the letter of Memphis? The instrumental version of Letter of Memphis, maybe. It's funny, they covered 2 Neil Young songs. It's really interesting. They did Winter Long and they did I've Been Waiting for You, which were for compilations. They're on a bunch of compilations. What I ended up picking was I'm Sorry, David Lovering. David Lovering sings 3 times in the Pixies. He sings during Cactus. He says P-I-X-I-E-S. He sings lead on La La Love You, which is great. He does a great job. All I'm saying, pretty baby, la la love you, don't mean maybe. I mean, it's great. And he also sings Make Believe, which is a cover. I forget who's the cover. Well, I guess we should look it up, right? Damn, this is going to bother me. This was a tongue-in-cheek cover that they did of Debbie something, I think. Make Believe. Hold on. Make Believe song. Who sang Make Believe first? No. Make Believe song. Let's see here. Debbie Reynolds? No. Wow. Deborah Bond. Wait, wow. I don't know who say it's Debbie Gibson. It's a Debbie Gibson. It's them covering Debbie Gibson. And wait, oh no, she is the subject of the Pixies song Make Believe. Oh, so you know what? I guess maybe it's not a cover. Why did I think it was a cover? I guess it's not a cover. In any case, that's what I picked. I picked Make Believe. And then for my underrated, I mean, there were a bunch of songs I could have picked. I ended up going with a Doolittle outtake or Doolittle B-side called Dance the Manta Ray, which is, again, Frank Black has two songs about manta rays as they relate to UFOs. And this is one of the strangest Pixie songs out there. This is Frank Black getting really weird. Do the manta ray. Dun, dun, dun. It's almost, you know what it's almost like? It's almost like I could almost see, you know who I would like to see cover this song? I would like to see the B-52s do their own version of Dance the Manta Ray. Dance the Manta Ray. Dun it, dun it. They'd speed it up. Dun it, dun it, dun it, dun it. Dance the Manta Ray. And then you'd have what's her face, the two Kate and Cindy going, oh, it'd be like Rock Lobster basically, but Dance the Manta Ray. That would be really great. So Dance the Manta Ray, I think that is such an underrated song on this thing. It's just it's so weird. It doesn't really make sense, but hey, you gotta dance. It's actually Dancing the Manta Ray. It's not Dance the Manta Ray. And that's where we leave off. Okay. So that's where we leave off. So here's the deal. When the new record comes out, we will do part 2, which will be Pixies 2.0. And that will be that. I hope you enjoyed this show. I'm surprised that we're even done. I'm surprised that we got this done in under 2 hours because boy, I kept going. I could have kept going. There's so much shit I could have talked about. There's so many songs I want to talk about. I really could have gone track by track on Doolittle alone. I feel like that was pretty good though. I don't know who I will do next in this series of best, worst, and underrated, but we'll pick a band and we'll go for it. Maybe we'll do the Stooges. You know, I'm supposed to have Damien from Sam Hain. I talked to him about coming on the show to talk about Funhouse. Maybe I'll see if I can get him to do best, worst, and underrated for the Stooges. Maybe he'll do that with me. I don't know. I'll ask him. That's it. That's the show. Hope you enjoyed it. Thank you, Crazy White Boy. And thank you for Alex. Great participation tonight. And I saw cousin Jody Ramone was here earlier. And thank you, everybody. And we'll be back next time, whenever that is. Peace. Hair grease, all the rest. Ha cha cha cha.